It's time for Sell Me This Pen.
Sell me this pen.
Okay, let's sell you Moses Moody. Moses Moody is going to be now I'm selling him as a prospect. So defensive potential high, scoring potential high. If you're sitting anywhere from 8 to 12, I think you absolutely should take Moses Moody. I think he's like second, third tier prospect in this draft. And if you're looking for a guy who at the very minimum is going to give you defense and shooting, but at his ceiling could eventually become a 20-point scorer, as Corey mentioned, that's exciting. That's really, really exciting. And I think he has that potential. High floor, high ceiling. You should bet on those guys, especially if you're like 8 to 12 and he's still on the board. 100% you should take a bet on that guy.
I think he's one of the safer prospects in the draft. Mm-hmm. Like we said, especially if you're going to be able to get him outside of the top 10, he's a guy that like the bust rate on him is going to be really hard for him to not carve a niche for himself. Like right. If he's not a productive player in the league, there's some, weird circumstance that happened, mm-hmm. personal injury, mm-hmm. something like that. I think just his baseline skill set of being able to knock down shots, and play hard defensively, it's hard to see him not being at least mildly successful. So if that's your baseline, anything else besides that at that spot that you draft him that's free money in right. my opinion. And that wingspan, again, like I said, he looks a legit 6'6". That dude's arms, like you could tell his wingspan is crazy just by watching it, just by looking at it and watching him on the floor. And he's smooth. Yeah, he's a smooth mm-hmm. dude. And he plays at his own pace. And I think, he played at Montverde with Scotty Barnes and Cade, and like he's used right. to playing off of other guys who are going to create. And mm-hmm. I think this season, like jumping up to Division I college basketball in a major conference, like after playing off of two incredible creators and one of, possibly, a superstar level creator at that, it's mm-hmm. going to be an adjustment. You're not going to look like, Bradley Beal or one of these elite shooting guards in one, weird college season. It's going to
mm-hmm.
take time for him.
Right. You touched on it right there. I mean, that was one of the things that I noticed the most watching film on him when I was doing a breakdown of him a few weeks ago. I was like, man, this dude is super crafty. Like I kept thinking like he doesn't play like a 19-year-old freshman in college. Like the dude played like he's been playing with pros for a while already. So it's gonna. I think it's gonna be really interesting to see like how much of that translates over like to the NBA level. When that's something like you see a lot of guys who are older. Like that's something like D Wade did at the end of his career, or like some guys like that where they're getting guys up in the air with a pump fake. So like he does that, and it's not just like he does it every now and then. Like he gets one or two of those like a game. He's trying to draw those fouls. So. Like you said, I think sometimes it does alter his shot in a bad way, like when he's fading or something. But especially in the mid-range, when he had a really good ability of like he'll get to his spot, one dribble, two dribble pull up, hit the pump fake, the guy will just fly over him, and then he's got an easy shot. And I was like, man, like in a few years, obviously, like you just said, like first year in the NBA, they're not going to be just rolling the ball to him and saying, hey, go create offense very often. But when he needs to, and then eventually if he's able to develop himself to where a team's willing to give him some like a key to the offense every now and then he's going to have that in his bag, which is really cool for a guy who right now is just being looked at as a 3-and-D prospect. But I think he has so much more potential than that if he can develop the right parts of his game.